Good evening, viewers, and welcome to EthioAlert TV. Bringing you the top story that is currently shaping diplomatic and military dynamics across the Horn of Africa and beyond. Tonight's headline, Red Sea naval base dispute draws global attention. A strategic controversy centered on the Berbera port area, located along the Red Sea, is once again heating up. The dispute, which involves Ethiopia, the United States, the United Arab Emirates, and Somalia, is rapidly becoming a focal point of regional and international concern. According to a detailed report released by Africa Inter-Intelligence, the United States is currently engaged in covert diplomatic negotiations regarding a potential military presence in Berbera, a port city situated in Somaliland, the self-declared autonomous region of northern Somalia. The talks are reported to have originated in Ethiopia but were temporarily stalled due to regional disagreements. Recently, however, momentum seems to be picking up, reigniting geopolitical interest and concerns from neighboring nations. This development is tied to a year-old diplomatic standoff that centers on Ethiopia's ambition to establish a naval base on Somaliland's coast. While Ethiopia remains landlocked since the separation of Eritrea in 1993, its renewed efforts to secure maritime access have drawn the attention of key international players, namely, the United Arab Emirates and the United States. Africa Inter-Intelligence indicates that the UAE has already made significant progress in building a modern naval facility in the region. At the same time, U.S. diplomatic efforts, although shrouded in secrecy, appear to be nearing an agreement. Both powers are reportedly eyeing Berbera as a key strategic location for projecting influence and securing trade and military routes through the Red Sea. This growing foreign interest has not gone unnoticed by Somalia's federal government in Mogadishu. Officials there have issued strong objections to any agreement involving Somaliland that bypasses the central government. Somalia maintains that all international negotiations involving its territory must be routed through the federal authority, not through what it considers an unrecognized regional administration. The Somali government's position underscores a deeper legal and diplomatic challenge. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991 but has not been internationally recognized. Any unilateral agreements it enters into, especially those involving military infrastructure, are seen as violations of Somalia's territorial integrity. As tensions mount, the involvement of global and regional powers is adding new layers to an already complex situation. Previous efforts to resolve the standoff, including Turkish-led mediation attempts, had shown some promise. However, those negotiations appear to have stalled without yielding a lasting solution. Furthermore, Egypt and Eritrea, both of whom have vested interests in Red Sea stability and Ethiopian geopolitics, were previously drawn into this dispute. Their involvement highlights the extent to which this issue transcends a bilateral squabble and now represents a chessboard for broader power competition. As of today, neither the Ethiopian government nor Somaliland authorities have issued recent statements regarding the negotiations or construction activities in Berbera. The lack of transparency has fueled speculation and concern about the strategic implications of this power play. For Ethiopia, securing access to the sea remains a critical national security and economic objective. However, the path toward achieving this goal is proving increasingly fraught with diplomatic resistance, contested sovereignties, and the ever-watchful eyes of global powers with naval ambitions. In summary, the Berbera naval base issue is no longer a local or even regional matter. It has become a microcosm of broader geopolitical rivalries, including the competition for influence in Africa and control over one of the world's busiest maritime corridors. Let in-depth analysis. 1. Ethiopia's strategic interests. Ethiopia, one of Africa's largest and fastest-growing economies, has long sought alternatives to its maritime dependence on Djibouti, where it currently conducts more than 90% of its imports and exports. Access to a coastline is not merely an economic necessity for Ethiopia but also a matter of national sovereignty and defense. Berbera offers the promise of a more autonomous maritime corridor. The naval base project, if realized, would mark the rebirth of Ethiopia's naval ambitions, which were dismantled after Eritrea's independence. Yet, building a base in a disputed territory like Somaliland risks further isolating Addis Ababa from regional diplomacy and may trigger counter-alliances. 2. Somaliland's calculated gamble. Somaliland, although unrecognized internationally, has used deals like this to assert its independence and gain political capital. Agreements with powerful states like the UAE or the US give it symbolic recognition, even if unofficial, and bolster its claim for self-rule. However, it walks a fine line, risking backlash from Mogadishu and potential instability. 3. The geopolitical chessboard. The US views the Red Sea as critical to global maritime trade and regional security. Establishing a presence in Berbera could complement its existing facilities in Djibouti and counterbalance China's increasing footprint in the region. The UAE has pursued a strategy of securing key port facilities from the Gulf of Aden to the Red Sea to bolster trade and project military power. Berbera fits neatly into this plan. Somalia's federal government sees these actions as illegal encroachments, undermining its sovereignty. Regional wildcards such as Egypt and Eritrea are watching closely. Egypt, wary of Ethiopian dominance over Nile waters, may see an Ethiopian naval base as a provocation. Eritrea, with a tense history with Ethiopia, is likely concerned about any militarization of the border. Conclusion. The Berbera naval base issue is more than a port dispute, it's a flashpoint in the Horn of Africa's evolving power dynamics. As global powers converge on this vital maritime corridor, Ethiopia must balance its strategic ambitions with the realities of international law and regional politics. How this unfolds could set the tone for the Horn's future stability, or its unraveling. With developments still unfolding, we at EthioAlert TV will continue to follow this story closely. For Ethiopia, the stakes are high, not only in securing maritime access but also in navigating an increasingly crowded and contested geopolitical theater. Stay with us for more updates. Good day.